Big help. We've been at this an hour. I haven't seen any sign of... I must be getting jumpy.
Looking for folks to scare. You can recognize this crazy cat, cause he ain't got no hair.
You don't need no cream, old Charlie.
They say Tom Dooley hang down your head in that song they sang. But the headless ghost just laughed and laughed, cause he had no head to hang.
Mr. Grinner, we might as well get rid of this road.
There's time when things but the headless ghost, but he don't let it show. Boy can't get mad and blow his top, cause he got no top to blow.
He ain't even got a wig to flip.
The headless ghost with a long white sheet, he looks so sharp in that. But he moans and groans cause he ain't got no place to wear a hat.
Yeah, but look at the tips he saved, cause he ain't got no hat to check.
They say Tom Dooley hang down your head in that song they sang. But the headless ghost just laughed and laughed cause he had no head to hang.
Mr. Grinner, we might as well get rid of this road.
There's time when things but the headless ghost, but he don't let it show. Boy can't get mad and blow his top cause he got no top to blow.
He ain't even got a wig to flip.
The headless ghost comes around by night looking for folks to scare. You can recognize this crazy cat cause he ain't got no hair.
Washington Irving wrote it in 1820, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. It's become an American classic. This book will take hold of your imagination and rattle it like an earthquake and leave you with memories of a trip into absolute terror. It all began when a young soldier in the American Revolutionary War had his head knocked off by a cannonball. To the good people who lived in Sleepy Hollow, he became a legend. The people believed in that legend because they had so often seen the terrifying headless horseman galloping across the countryside in search of his missing head. The night of this story, he was to ride one more time.
Indeed, Mr. Craig.
Forgive me, but why is it you refuse to call me by my first name, Ichabod?
Ichabod is, I'm sorry, painful to my ears.
Oh.
Mr. Crane, however, has a charming ring to it.
Yes? And tell me, dear lady, how does the sound of Mrs. Crane strike your delicate ears?
Mrs. Crane being your mother, I take it.
Oh, Brom, I missed you at the dance.
And I you, Katrina. I had things to do.
Out, wrestling with the pigs again, eh, Mr. Bones?
There ain't no sport in wrestling pigs, school teacher. But whomping a bit on swine's another thing altogether.
Tell me, Mr. Bones, how many muscles do you have? Counting your head, of course.
May I have the honor of escorting you to your home, Katrina? The dance being almost over. You should have a man with you. The horseman scaring folks around the countryside and all.
Miss Katrina is being escorted home by me.
Like I said, she ought to have a man with her, Ichabod.
I beg your pardon. Oh, my goodness. Oh, Miss Katrina, forgive me, Miss Katrina. I don't know how I could have been such a fool. Forgive me.
Oh, that's quite all right, Mr. Crane. There's no injury done. In fact, I should thank you. Mr. Crane, it might be better if Braun does escort me home tonight.
But,
I do fear the Headless Horseman, and it will take you so very far out of your way.
I don't mind.
You heard the lady, Ichabod. She wants me to protect her from the horseman.
Nonsense. Headless horseman, indeed.
You won't be talking that way after you run into him. I seen him.
Yes?
Like to freeze my spine, it did.
Oh.
And you can't outrun that stallion of his, no matter what manner of horse flesh you ride.
Well, my, horse, gunpowder. He may not look like much, but he'll do, I'm sure.
Why, that stallion of his breathes fire and runs faster than a March wind.
Poppycock. Empty stories for empty heads.
Oh, Mr. Crane, I do hope you will be careful. I would hate to see anything happen to you.
Oh, but don't you worry, Miss Katrina. I'll be careful. I can defend myself if anything should come along.
Maybe you should leave right away before it gets too late. The later it gets, the worse it gets.
Worse, yes. Well, perhaps you're right. Not that I'm afraid, of course. But...
If I were you, Ichabod Crane, I'd take another path home tonight. The horseman's been spied in the valley 3 nights running.
Mr. Bones, really, your obvious attempts at frightening me are falling on deaf ears. Even if there were such a spectre, and I'm not saying for 1 minute that I believe in such a notion, even if there were. I mean, what on earth would he want with me?
Your head. They say that if you cross the church bridge, you'll be safe. If you make it that far...
Oh, headless horseman, indeed. Can you believe such idiocy, gunpowder? Perhaps a storm is brewing, old friend, eh? Maybe I shouldn't have left that party. Maybe I should have stayed and fought it out with that Brom Bones. Oh, who goes there? Oh, rabbit, no doubt. Probably just a rabbit. Let's pick up the pace a bit, gunpowder. I'd like to be across that church bridge before the storm strikes. What's the problem, old boy? What is it? Whoa, whoa, whoa. What seems to be the problem? I got a rock in a shoe here. I can't see anything. Age. Age, I believe, is your particular problem. Age and a belly that will soon be scraping along the road. Who? Who there said who? Tricks one's mind plays. Hello? Hello there. Going my way? Oh dear. Oh my goodness. What am I going to do? Are you from around these parts? I've just been at a party over at Van Tassel's, and where are you headed? Oh, yes, let's go, gunpowder. Oh, what's going to happen to me? Oh, I think he's getting closer. Oh, my goodness. Oh, he is following. Oh, my goodness. Oh, slow down. Oh, dear. Now, maybe if we just walk along. Oh, dear. And pretend that nothing's wrong.
He's walking too, he's walking too. I don't know what this means. Oh, whoa, gunpowder, my foot. My foot came out of the stirrup here. Oh, my goodness, I thought. Oh, my God. Yeah. Help! Gunpowder! Let's go! Help me! Help me! Somebody help me! Gunpowder! Go faster! Gunpowder! Please, let's make it! Oh, no! Oh, no! We've got to make the bridge, Gunpowder! Oh, my head! My head! Oh, the bridge! The bridge! Oh, we made it, Gunpowder! We made it! We're safe! He won't cross that bridge! Try and catch me, you silly spectre! You silly spectre! We made it, Gunpowder!
Was the headless horseman a ghost? Or was it just Brom Bones trying to scare Ichabod to death? The following morning, all they found was Ichabod's horse, his coat, and strangely enough, a smashed pumpkin lying in the road. What happened to Ichabod? 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 Why don't you read the book and see what you think? Oh, I was just lying down here for a little rest. I have such a busy night ahead of me.
Mr. Pop. Eat.
200 years ago, if you were a poor German peasant in the province of Hesse-Darmstadt, you could be drafted into the Landgrave's army, and your regiment could be sold to whatever foreign country could afford to buy it. Frederick II sold some soldiers to George III to put down a little disturbance in the American colonies. 22,000 troops for about $15 million in today's money, or some $730 per man, which was just about a good going price for an able-bodied black slave, too. Well, along about December of 1776, there was a large detachment of Hessians stationed in Trenton, New Jersey. Their commanding officer was a certain Colonel Rahl. He was considered a good soldier, but he did have a certain weakness. And since you'd never guess what it is, I'll tell you. The colonel was crazy about music played on the flute.
Yes?
I have here a note to the colonel from the captain of the guard.
All right, wait here.
Yes? Oh, it's the beautiful Peggy.
A soldier brought you this note, sir.
To the commanding officer from the captain of the guard. Sir, the bearer of this note is the most accomplished flute player I have ever heard. I believe you would enjoy hearing him. Oh, I must see him at once.
Colonel, we must arrange for the disposition of the trenches.
Tomorrow.
I respectfully submit...
Lieutenant Peel,
Suppose the Americans attack.
Suppose the Americans attack? Are you serious, Lieutenant?
Colonel, it is possible.
Yes, it's possible. It's possible for the sun to shine at midnight. It's possible for the Delaware River to turn into a foaming torrent of beer.
But the American army is...
This rabble that calls itself the American Army no longer exists.
Sir, General Washington has at least 40,000 men.
This upstart militia colonel has been running like a whipped dog across 4 rivers. The Hudson, the Hackensack, the Passaic, and the Delaware. He's now at bay.
So he is very dangerous and clever.
My boy, you must believe this war is over. Your commander, Lord Cornwallis, plans to sail for England next month to report this fact to the king.
The Americans are still organized. They have spirit.
Son, I promised your father I would make an officer and a gentleman out of you. The first requisite for success in a military career. Never contradict your superior.
Even when I am right?
Especially when you're right. Peggy, bring in my flute player.
Colonel, this Washington is wearing us down. Slowly,
my flute player. Well,
Sir, Private Heinrich Kleinmuth reporting.
And where are you from, Heinrich?
Aldersburg, if it should please, Your Excellency.
Good country. I see you brought your flute. And so, present arms.
A little tune from the home country, Excellency.
Wunderschön. Meisterspieler. Ah, yes. You will come here again tomorrow night, Soldier Einemuth.
I obey, Your Excellency.
Give him some money, Peel. Now, don't fish for pennies like some frugal Frenchman. Give him the handful. He's earned it.
I thank Your Excellency.
Peggy, take him into the kitchen. The man must be hungry.
This way.
Good night, Your Excellency.
Peggy.
You fool.
But I'm your fool, darling Peggy.
Where did you get that uniform? You could be shot.
To see you once again, it's worth it.
Well, it's worth nothing of the kind. You've got to get out of here.
After all the trouble I had getting in here, you want me to get out?
When you knocked on the door, I said to myself, well, here's a Hessian that looks like Tom Caldwell. I couldn't believe it. And then I watched you play.
Ah, have I improved?
Oh, yes, your tone is so much... Tom, stop it. Do you want to be shot as a spy?
Oh, now, wait. What does that walrus mean by my beautiful Peggy?
Oh, he's all right.
Oh?
Well, everybody says Mom and I are lucky the Hessian commander chose our house for his headquarters. We're protected against the riffraff, you know. How did you get here?
Well, the governor called out the Jersey militia and attached us to Washington's army. I had to see you.
But the army's across the Delaware. How did you get here?
You have to ask that? You don't remember our secret place?
The ford.
Yes. I borrowed a horse.
But, Tom, what are you going to do?
Well, I'd like to get married.
Now?
Well, we're going to have to wait a little while, but it'll be over soon.
Oh, I don't think so. We won't win for a long time.
We're not going to win at all.
Tom.
Oh, Peggy, you should see Washington's army. Half of them don't have uniforms or even blankets or shoes. Ain't hardly 2 weapons alike. There's shotguns, muskets, fowling pieces, a few rifles.
I have faith in that army.
Yeah, well, in a couple of 3 weeks, there isn't going to be any army. Most everybody's enlistment's expired. Most everybody's gone home.
Even you?
Even me.
Well...
Peggy, we've only got one life. Let's live it. Let's be happy.
Peggy, more wine.
Oh, I've got to go back in there. You'd better get out of here, Tom.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Oh, Tom, please, no. It's too dangerous.
I love you, Peggy.
How are you going to get back to our lines in that uniform?
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about
anything. Tom Caldwell has arrived, and the situation is well in hand.
Wake up, boys. Wake up. Sounds like somebody's coming on horseback. Stand by to challenge. Hold, or I'll fire. No.
Mr. Jones, he ain't got no head.
Good Lord. I'm getting out of here.
Come on.
Oh, Major Hamilton, what is this nonsense?
General Washington, I don't know, but it's quite serious.
We have enough problems.
No, I suppose not. There's always room for more.
The men are terrified.
The headless Hessians. What kind of child
The picket
story?
on the road leading to the river actually saw him. Now, there were others who saw him,
They
too.
were all probably drunk.
General, I would tend to agree. But where would they get the liquor?
You must never underestimate the resourcefulness of the American soldier, Major Hamilton. How can I fault them? We're low on food, practically no blankets, and it's freezing.
The sergeant in charge of the picket is outside, sir. I thought you'd like to see him.
What I want to do is plan our attack on Trenton, which has to happen before the ice in the river freezes completely.
General, he insists on seeing you.
All right, Hamilton.
Sergeant Meadows.
Sergeant Meadows, Connecticut Brigade, reporting, sir. Sergeant Meadows. Yes, I remember you. You helped me rally the men at the Battle of Long Island. If I had a couple of hundred more like you, we'd still be on the east bank of the Hudson River.
Yes, sir. General Washington, yes, sir, we sure would.
Now, what's this ghost story nonsense?
It ain't nonsense.
You're talking like a day-old recruit, Sergeant.
I seen it, sir, with my own eyes.
Seen what?
The headless Hessian.
As one old-timer to another, Sergeant, did you see him through the fumes?
Sir, help me, General. I ain't had a drop since we crossed the Hackensack River.
Give me a detailed report.
Well, sir, we was on picket duty, and we heard this horseman approach. So I stood up and I challenged him. Halt! But he don't halt. He only seems to ride faster. Well, sir, I brought my weapon to bear. I was about to shoot. And then I seen his face. Or what I mean is, he had no face. No head.
No head?
No, General. He was dressed in the uniform of a Hessian mercenary soldier. And it was all complete. See, he didn't have his head.
Since he had disobeyed your order to halt, why didn't you fire?
Sir, if any other officer asked me that, I answer my flint was wet, or the primer flashed in the pan, or that I shot and missed. But you know what my answer is to you, General?
You were scared out of your wits.
Yes, sir.
And I would have been scared, too. All right, Sergeant, that's all.
General Washington, I did see him. The four men with me, they seen him, too. He was a headless Hessian.
Thank you, Sergeant. Report back to your unit.
Yes, sir.
Now, this is all we need, Major Hamilton. You can get men to fight when they're hungry, tired, cold, but not when they're scared of a ghost.
But there's no such thing as a ghost, General.
Hamilton, you're an intelligent man. I think you're the most intelligent man in the whole army. But don't let your intelligence get in the way of the facts. The fact here is there's a ghost, or what the men think is a ghost, and that's the same thing.
Halt! Halt! It's him! The headless Hessian!
No!
It's him!
That's the fifth night in a row, Major Hamilton.
Yes, General.
They see this thing coming. Why can't they shoot it?
Well, they say they just freeze.
Hamilton, how do you account for it?
I don't know. Maybe there is a headless Hessian.
Major, I'm surprised at you.
I know you should be,
This
but
thing is destroying the morale of our forces. I want to attack Trenton no later than Christmas. We have to win a battle. We have to do something to make the people believe we can win this war.
Could it be a trick? Could the enemy be using this as a way to frighten our men?
Well, I can't think of a better answer. Now, you tell me he comes down the north road from the river, which is something I don't understand. The men expect him. Why can't they shoot?
I can't explain, General. Just something happens, that's all. You get that chill running down your backbone and that icy fear like a cold hand clasped around your heart.
Sergeant, I understand your term of service expires next week.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I hope you'll set a good example to the rest of your unit by re-enlisting.
Oh.
Come, Sergeant, you know we simply can't afford to lose trained men like you and your comrades.
Oh, General, we ain't afraid of nothing that lives. It's what's dead that scares us. We just can't fight the supernatural.
Sergeant, suppose we end the career of this headless Hessian.
How are you going to do that?
I said suppose.
Well, in that case, General,
Let us exchange promises, Sergeant. I shall promise you that the headless Hessian will ride no more. And you must promise me to re-enlist.
General, it's done.
Forward, Major Hamilton.
General, you made that man a promise.
I know, Hamilton.
That means we will have to end the night riding of that notorious headless Hessian.
I'm aware of that.
Does the General have any idea how it's to be done?
Not at this time, Major Hamilton.
I don't...
Yes, Major.
Nothing.
No, there's something on your mind. Say it.
Sir, I just couldn't believe you would ever make a promise you couldn't keep.
Oh, I intend to keep it.
But you just said you didn't even know
But
how.
I have till midnight to think of something. Suppose we start thinking.
I am thinking, General, but nothing occurs to me.
Whoever he is, he's flesh and blood. And he can stop a bullet. And so I know what we have to do.
Yes, sir.
Well, who's making that very pretty music? Don't let me interrupt you, soldier.
Private Tom Caldwell, New Jersey Brigade, sir.
You're an expert flute player.
Well, thank you, sir.
I'm quite fond of music myself.
Yes, General, so they say.
Really? What do they say?
Well, they say you sing a perfect harmony.
We'll have to arrange for a musical evening once we have the British on the run.
Yes, sir.
And what do you think of this headless Hessian, soldier?
Well, sir, how can there be a headless anybody?
Correct. I hope you can convince your friends. There's a straight-thinking young man for you, Hamilton. We need more like him.
Sir, what is your plan for dismounting this headless Hessian?
We know he comes from the direction of Trenton, do we not?
Yes, sir.
We know the time to be about midnight.
Yes.
The men on picket duty find themselves unable to shoot at him, isn't that so?
True.
Well, tonight, we shall have special squads of men who are not afraid to fire.
May I volunteer to command one of those squads?
Certainly, Hamilton. And ask Lieutenant Monroe to volunteer to command another.
Wonderful. Yes, give him some money, Lieutenant Peel.
Here you are. Now, Colonel, please listen to me. The fortified place.
There will be no fortified places. It's not necessary.
Soldier, why are you standing there? Leave!
Go in the kitchen, Rhinemuth, and have something to eat and drink.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
At least, Colonel, if British headquarters asks about fortifications, let us be able to say that we are...
All right. Show me where you want the holes to be dug. All right, Rhinemuth.
Sir?
You must report here tomorrow. It's Christmas Eve.
Yes, sir.
Tom.
Well, don't I get a kiss?
You have to stop doing this.
You're right, darling.
No, I mean it.
Well, so do I. I'm going to desert.
Tom.
Well, just about half the army, it seems like, deserts every day. Darling, it's over.
But Washington says if he has to, he'll retire to the mountains and fight from there.
Peggy, all I ever wanted was to make hay on my farm, make music on my flute, and make love to you. I don't need any revolution for that.
Tom, I just can't think of you as a coward.
Oh, try another word. Try prudent.
Prudent? This harebrained thing you're doing now, that's prudent? You're risking your life every minute.
Well, that's all right. At least I'm risking my life for me. I'll see you tomorrow.
No, Tom. If you come back, I'll leave here.
But, sweetheart...
It's crazy. It can only end with your getting yourself killed one way or the other. By one side or the other.
Well, maybe.
I want us to get married. Somehow, we both have to live through this war, and crazy people won't survive. Tom, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, Peggy.
You've got to grow up. You know what I mean.
Exactly.
I don't need a few nights like this. I need the rest of our lives. Promise me, Tom. Promise me. You won't come here again until it's really safe.
But, Peg...
Promise?
I promise.
Your men have their orders?
Yes, General.
I want this man taken. I'd prefer to have him alive, but if he insists, then we'll have to take him dead. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow night is Christmas Eve. The enemy will be celebrating. We can have the advantage of surprise. If only we can capture this headless Hessian, our men will have the enthusiasm for a fight. Major Hamilton, Lieutenant Monroe, you must put a stop to him.
Who goes there? Major Hamilton, Lieutenant Monroe, and 2 squads.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I recognize you, sir.
Any sign of him?
Not yet, Major Hamilton.
He comes this way all the time.
When he comes.
Monroe, we might as well deploy our men along the road. Out of sight, then. Get among the trees. Now, I want it quiet. No one is to make a sound. Listen.
It's him, sir. It's him.
Headless Hessian, I'm getting out of here. Don't anyone move. Hold still. Hold still. Challenge him, Sergeant. Stand back. I'll do it myself. Halt! Halt or I'll fire! Halt! Let him have it! Fire! Fire! What's wrong with your man?
I'm all froze up, Major.
Fool, hand me a rifle.
I don't know what this is. I'm sorry, sir.
What are you standing here for? After him! I fired. Lieutenant Monroe fired. Then I grabbed the sergeant's rifle and fired again, but he was gone.
And there was no sign of him?
We had 20 men. If everyone had fired...
Well, some shots were fired, and everyone heard them. And now I'm afraid it'll get worse.
Worse, General? How?
We may have begun a legend of an invincible and bulletproof headless Hessian.
I'm sorry, sir.
I'll go out there myself next time. Somebody has to bring him down.
Come in.
Sergeant Meadows reporting, sir. Yes, Meadows. Sir, I'm sorry about last night. What is it, Meadows? What have you got there? It's a flute. Yes, General. Where did you get it? Well, when we went chasing after the headless Hessian, I happened to notice something lying along the side of the road, and I stopped and picked it up. A flute? Well, what would a flute... Sergeant, take a squad, go over to the New Jersey hutments, and arrest a man named Tom Caldwell, and also search all his belongings.
But, General, I don't understand.
Don't you?
No, sir.
How do you account for this Hessian uniform?
That uniform? Well, General Washington, I never saw that thing before in all my life.
It was found in the bottom of your kit.
Well, maybe someone put it there as a joke. That's right. You know how fellas are. We have some great jokers in the outfit.
And the money?
Money?
These are silver kroner. You can see they come from Hesse-Darmstadt. Now, soldier, where would you come into possession of Hessian money?
Well, it was in the skirmish, sir. The skirmish we had 3 weeks ago, and this one was lying there dead, and I looked through his pockets. Well, that ain't a crime, is it? And that's how I come to get it.
And your flute? What was it doing lying by the side of the road?
So that's what happened to it. I knew I lost it someplace.
Don't you want to tell the truth, soldier? For the good of your soul.
For the good of my soul. General, when you talk like that, it means you're going to hang me.
You performed a treasonous act for the enemy, soldier.
No, it wasn't treason. It wasn't.
You deny you were paid. Here's the money.
I told you how I got it.
A common soldier wouldn't have so much money.
He was an officer.
Soldier, your only hope is the truth.
You wouldn't believe it.
And why wouldn't I believe it?
Because you'd have to be crazy like me.
Well, many people have called me crazy.
Sir, I've got this girl. She lives in Trenton. Her name is Margaret. Peggy Mason.
Yes?
Well, I just had to see her. I had to. You can understand that, General, can't you?
Yes.
So Well, I couldn't go there in civilian clothes, could I? So I picked up this Hessian uniform. The coat's kind of big, and I just put the top of it up over my head so it would look like I was,
headless.
Yes, sir. Headless. And that would get me past our pickets.
You say the girl's name is Peggy Mason. Major Hamilton, why is the name Mason familiar?
The Hessian commander is headquartered in the Mason House.
Of course. Do you mean to tell me that you actually risked going to the enemy headquarters?
Yes, sir.
But as a Hessian soldier, you would have to speak German.
Yes, sir, but when I was a very small boy, I was bound out to this German farmer, and I learned how to sprechen Deutsch really good.
Even so, how could you get into the colonel's headquarters?
Well, sir, I knew something about this Colonel Rawl. The colonel, he's a fool for flute music, and so...
Now, let me understand this. You went to their headquarters, played the flute for Colonel Rawl.
Yes, sir, and he appreciated it so much, he gave me money. The money you found.
And then afterward, you found an opportunity to spend some time with your girl.
Oh, yes, sir. I was always able to find time for that.
Weren't you afraid you'd be shot coming back?
Well, sir, I figured everyone would be too scared to shoot at me, and I was right. Until last night. I heard them shots, and I was so scared I just dropped my flute. I couldn't stop to look for it, neither.
Is there anything else you would like to add?
No, sir, that's about it. I don't think it's worth my getting shot.
Oh, you wouldn't be shot in any event. The penalty for treason is death by hanging.
General, please, the way I see it, the worst I did was to be absent without leave.
Very well, soldier. We listened to your fairy tale. Now suppose you tell us the truth.
Major, that was the truth. Every single word was the truth.
Sergeant, take the prisoner outside.
Yeah, please, sir, you ain't going to hang me.
Prisoner, stand at attention. About face. Forward, march.
Yeah, please, General Washington, don't order them to hang me.
General, you have the right to order him executed. Or would you prefer to assemble a court-martial?
A court-martial? Major Hamilton, they would hang him.
But the man deserves to be hanged.
No one deserves to be hanged. We only use the rope because we're unable to think of a truly fitting punishment. You must admit he tells quite a story.
An unbelievable story.
I don't know about that. I think I believe him.
But the story makes no sense.
Hamilton, you are an extremely intelligent and logical man, but you mustn't let it ruin your common sense.
But, sir,
How old are you?
29.
And how old do you suppose that soldier is?
22, 23.
And I am 44. Now, why do I understand that boy better than you do?
General, I understand he is a traitor.
Oh, come, Hamilton. He's in love.
Love?
Yes, he's in love. The way only a young man can be in love. He's not only in love with her, but he's in love with love itself.
Excuse me, sir, but I'm afraid I don't follow.
Well, maybe you will one day, and you'll be a better man for it. It's more than the girl. It's the adventure, the danger. He risks his life every time he sees her. He can be captured by the Hessians and hanged. He could be captured or shot by his own side as well. Can a young man ask for more?
Well, what do you propose to do with him?
He deserves a medal.
General!
Don't be alarmed. I shall do the proper thing and take an extremely dim view of the situation. Bring him back here.
Sergeant, the prisoner.
Soldier, I believe your story.
Oh, thank you, General. I knew you would. Everyone says General Washington, he's the fairest man in the whole...
That doesn't mean you're innocent.
No, sir, no. I'm sure I'm guilty of something, but nothing that would call for a rope now, would it?
Being absent without leave, frightening the soldiers of the United States Army.
Well, sir, grown men being scared of a ghost, we wouldn't want that to get around.
Silence, it's not for you to justify your misdeeds.
No, sir.
Therefore, you will continue in your present course of action.
My which, sir?
You will continue to ride to Trenton in the guise of a Hessian soldier. At least for one more night. Tonight, to be exact.
But I don't want to get shot at coming back.
You won't be coming back.
I won't.
No one is coming back. Tonight, we shall take Trenton.
But I promised my girl I wouldn't...
You've been traveling there on a more or less regular basis. You must be aware of the location of the fortifications.
The fortifications?
The earthworks, the trenches, the strong points.
Oh, them. To tell you the truth, there ain't none.
A soldier, that's impossible.
No, General, there just ain't no fortifications.
It is incredible that the Hessian commander would leave the town unfortified. Why, he couldn't violate the most elementary rule of warfare. Now, think carefully, soldier. There must be an outpost.
Oh, yeah, an outpost. Yeah, that's just as you cross the river on the main road.
And there must be a fortification of some sort for them to fall back on.
No, sir, there ain't.
Well, I know it's been dark every time you've been there, but try to remember.
I remember. There's this Colonel Rawl. He's the commander, see, and he don't want to build no fortifications.
He doesn't?
Yeah, no, sir. And furthermore, he says, begging your pardon, that the American army ain't going to be able to attack.
You heard him say that?
Yes, sir. He says to this Lieutenant Peel, who keeps begging him to build up the defenses.
And why does he say that?
Well, because he says the American army is just a rabble that no longer exists.
Is that what he said?
Yes, sir, and also that General Washington is only an upstart militia colonel who's already run like a whipped dog across 4 rivers. I'm only saying what he said, sir.
That's quite all right.
But Lieutenant Peel don't think so. He thinks you're dangerous and clever.
Thank you. Now, soldier, every man in the army has a mission for tonight. Yours will be to go into Trenton dressed as a Hessian. I want you to entertain Colonel Rawl. Entertain him as long as you can.
Now, Colonel, I would suggest a fortified position here on this rise, which commands...
Yes, an excellent idea.
Also, a line of trenches.
I agree.
I want your authority to order this work done.
You have it.
I mean to have it done immediately.
At once, sir. Tonight?
Within the hour.
What? It's Christmas.
There is no Christmas during war.
Now, my boy, zeal is a commendable quality.
Colonel, I must...
Work your men as hard as you must. Work them to death if you have to. But never work them needlessly for no real purpose.
I understand, but
Look
you must...
about you. It's snowing, freezing. The Delaware separates us from the Americans. Do you mean Washington would attempt to cross the river on such a night?
He would attempt anything.
But how could anyone get boats across in this weather?
He has a detachment of fishermen from the city of Gloucester in Massachusetts. These men are skilled with boats.
Fishermen and farmers and loudmouth lawyers. This is all these Yankees are. Why do they frighten you?
I am not frightened.
What will you do if you ever have to fight against real soldiers?
Colonel,
I know, but don't get yourself a reputation for being overcautious. Some people might mistake it for cowardice.
Yes, sir.
We are to have a party at headquarters this evening. Private Reinemuth will play as usual.
Yes, sir.
And by the way, he deserves a reward.
You give him money every time.
He deserves more. Have him entered as a corporal.
Because he plays a flute?
It's as good a reason as any, and better than most.
Tom, why did you come back tonight?
I wanted to see you.
But you promised.
Peggy, sweetheart, I couldn't keep away.
Oh, I'm really scared.
Of what?
Something's going to go wrong. I know it. I just know it. And I thought we understood that...
Now, Peggy, everything is going to be all right. I swear to you.
Please, Tom, you're crazy to do this just for me.
Well, I'm not doing it just for you.
You're not?
No, ma'am. Now, you got to cross your heart and hope to die never to breathe a living word.
Yes?
But I'm here on official business.
Official business? From whom?
Shh. General Washington.
General Washington?
You ain't supposed to breathe a word.
Well, I like that. And here all this time I thought you were doing it just for me.
Well, I am. I'm just combining business and pleasure.
Reinemuth? Where's Reinemuth? Reinemuth!
They're calling me, sweetheart. I've got to go in there now.
Please be careful.
What could go wrong?
Quiet, everyone, quiet. We shall now listen to our genius of the flute, our own Heinrich Reinemuth from Aldersburg. Beautiful Aldersburg. Heinrich, we are in your hands. My boy, you're better than ever.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Don't thank me yet. Wait till you see how I intend to reward you. Peel? Peel! Where's Lieutenant Peel? Peel!
Here, sir.
Well, close the door. We'll freeze to death. You missed the music. Heinrich was superb. Now, did you attend to that little matter?
Colonel?
Heinrich's promotion.
Oh, that, sir. It cannot be done.
Who says it cannot be done?
We cannot promote Reinemuth to corporal for the reason that there is no Heinrich Reinemuth on the roster of this regiment.
That's impossible.
Don't let him get away.
What did you just say, Lieutenant?
There is no Heinrich Reinemuth.
But that's impossible. He's standing here in front of us.
Private Reinemuth, your paybook, please. Well? Gentlemen, just where, Private Reinemuth, is the town of Aldersburg? Where? I have spoken to the men from every corner of Hesse-Darmstadt. No one has ever heard of it.
Why,
It is in your head.
Reinemuth, who are you?
He is a spy.
Is this true, Reinemuth?
No, sir, it's not true. Exactly.
Are you a soldier in the American army?
Doesn't matter. Even if he is a civilian, he is wearing a uniform. We must presume he is a spy.
Did you come here to spy on us, Reinemuth?
No, sir.
Then why did you come?
Colonel, I heard you were very fond of music, and anybody who loves the flute is a friend of mine.
Why did you come here?
Because I knew my music would make you happy.
Let us hang him at once.
Colonel, don't you believe me?
Yes, I believe you.
Oh. Sir, how could you believe such a story? It doesn't make sense.
It makes sense to me.
Does that mean this man goes free?
Oh, no, he cannot go free.
But I wasn't here to spy.
You are in uniform.
Well, you wouldn't hang me for that.
Oh, but we will shoot you.
Tom! Tom! Oh, please, Colonel.
My dear young lady, what are you doing here?
He didn't mean any harm.
Perhaps, but the law is the law.
No.
Let's take him outside.
Goodbye, Peggy.
No, I won't let him.
Hoffman, Schneider, please restrain our good hostess gently.
Oh, please, Colonel.
Rissler, stand at attention. Forward march. Squad, halt. Here's as fine a spot as any, and you can be buried under this beautiful old oak tree. Does that suit you?
Well, I don't have a choice, do I? I mean, do I have to get shot?
Yes.
Well, I like this place. Yeah, I mean, I don't like it.
Do you have any last words?
Yeah, I was hoping you might have some last words, like maybe reprieve.
Form the firing party. You have no last words.
No, sir. Get it over with.
Do you suppose you could play us a song? I would appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Halt. Pass the word.
Halt.
What do you make of that music, Hamilton?
It must be our man.
What's he doing out in the cold? Pass the word to move up slowly. Move up. Move up.
Lieutenant Peel, command the firing party.
Firing party! Ready? Aim! Fire! Fire!
The Americans! The Americans!
Don't shoot me! Don't shoot me! I'm an American! I'm an American!
This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
Once upon a time there was a talking man. His name was Ichabod. He said, "Brother, look out, you better let me be. The headless horseman's after me." Says boom, bop, bop, let no sleepy hollow. Says boom, bop, bop, let He rode through the land with his head in his hand. What a very young man was he. He said, oh, fear me as I'm headless, you see. For the legend of Sleepy Hollow. Watch out, come on. Is your blood really red? If you want to find out, sit down and you lose your head. He rode through the land with his head in his hand. What a very young man was he. He said, oh, fear me as I'm headless, you see. For the legend of Sleepy Hollow.
I once loved this island. This is where I found peace and quiet. The peace of waves forever breaking on the shore, the quiet of tranquil moonlight on the sea. But when the night wind rises and the fingers of the fog steal in, they say you can hear voices. They say it's the dead growing restless and calling to the living. I never believed it until that evening Vi came looking for me. But you always knew that marriage was out. I never lied to you.
But I always thought that...
Look, Vi, whatever you thought is your business. But it's all over. It's finished. You should never have come here, and you'll be doing yourself a favor if you take the first boat back.
I can't go back without you. Please come back with me, Tom. Just tell her you changed your mind. Nobody even knows I'm on the island. I chartered a private boat over. I won't even go back to the club. I'll quit right now.
Vi, will you for heaven's sakes realize when a good thing is over?
A second-rate singer like me doesn't fit in the picture anymore. I hear she's quite young and has money, too.
Vi, please understand, I'm in love with her.
I need you, Tom. No one will ever love you more than I do.
Sorry, Vi. I'm sorry for everything. Good night, Vi.
I still have your letters. I've never been in a lighthouse before. Show me the light, darling.
What about the letters, Vi?
Oh, I never throw anything like that away. You'd never know when they might come in handy. I wonder how she'd feel if I read them to her. Putting in pertinent footnotes, of course. Or maybe I ought to show them to a lawyer. I'm sure he'd know what to do with them. How would a lawsuit fit in with your music career, Tom? How would the piano genius of jazz feel about that kind of publicity? Darling, you look as if you were ready to kill me.
Now, you get this straight. I'm marrying Meg.
And you get this straight, Tom Stewart. No one will ever have you but me. Help me! Please, Tom, help me! Take my hand! Pull me out! Save me, Tom, please! Please save me! Please!
Sandy.
What are you doing?
Sandy, look, do me a favor, will you, and run out and play somewhere. I'm busy.
Don't you like me anymore?
Sure, I like you. I love you. I just want to be by myself.
Where were you last night? The Emersons had a beach barbecue, and everyone on the island was there. Meg was looking all over for you.
Sandy, please run along.
Okay. Sorry to disturb you. I almost forgot. The wedding announcements came, and Mommy wants you to look at one before we send them out. There's only a week till the big day.
Yeah, okay.
What's that? Look at iTunes. Wonder whose it is. You know anyone named Fry?
No. I'll take care of it. I've got to take it easy. I didn't find any dead woman, only seaweed. I know what's the matter with me. I'm seeing things. I'm letting my imagination run wild. Is it my conscience? No. Why should it bother me? I didn't do anything to Vi. I didn't kill her. It's her own fault she's dead.
She came out here of her own accord. She leaned against the railing. She fell. Wasn't my fault if it gave way. Why should I be blamed? I had nothing to do with it. Anyway, nobody ever needs to know. Nobody will even connect me with her. Why should they? Except for this watch of hers. All right, bye. That's the end of you.
Tom?
Meg. Oh, Meg. Meg, it's you.
Are you expecting someone else?
Oh, no. It's just that I wasn't expecting anyone. What are you doing up here?
Looking for you. What are you doing up here in this old lighthouse?
Well, at least it's quiet. I wanted to think. I guess I'm worried about that Carnegie Hall thing next month. I wonder if I'm good enough.
Of course you're good enough. You're the best jazz pianist in the world.
Darling, I never loved anyone before in my life.
Oh, nor did I. Do you smell perfume? It is perfume, arpege. It's so cold and gloomy in here. It gives me the creeps having that big lamp staring at us. Never liked it up here since the light stopped working. Glad they're going to tear it down. Come on, let's go outside till the sun's warm, huh? Coming?
They're sending the gown tomorrow. Oh, you're gonna love it, Tom. Ooh, I was supposed to see about a tie for Dad, and I forgot. I'll be so glad when this whole thing's over with, won't you? It'll only be a week more. We can't wait that long, can't we?
Me, don't you?
What is it?
Don't you see anything?
What? There's nothing to see.
Right there.
There's nothing there. What's the matter?
Meg, I've got to get out of here. Right away. Meg, let's elope. We can catch a boat to the mainland and be married this afternoon.
About the wedding.
Well, I was never for a big deal anyway. I only agreed to it because you wanted it.
Doesn't it matter that I still want it?
Please, Meg, please, do this for me. Just go away with me right now.
I told you that's impossible. I want my mother and father to think of as well as you.
Then I'll have to go by myself.
What about the wedding?
What about it, Meg?
If you go, there won't be one, that's all.
Meg.
now we will perform the greatest of all magic accomplishments ever performed on this island. The secret cabinet. As you will please notice, the cabinet is empty. Tom, you're not paying any attention. Don't you want to see the secret cabinet?
Oh, sure I do. I wouldn't miss it. Go ahead.
If I close the doors to the magic cabinet and say the magic words and tap it with my magic wand, abracadabra, we no longer have an empty cabinet. It is now filled with jelly beans. Tom Stewart. Fine one you are.
Oh, Sandy. Sandy, if you hate me for the rest of your life, I deserve it.
I couldn't hate you no matter what you did.
No matter what I did?
No matter what.
Even like fighting with your sister? Meg's mad at me, you know.
She'll get over it. Besides, if she doesn't, you'll be free to marry me.
Okay. From now on, you're the other woman in my life. Okay, honey. You run along now. I got some practicing to do. I'll clean up your magic stuff. Bye.
Bye, Tom.
Empty arms, I embrace the memory of you.
Who's there?
Mrs. Ellis, Tom. I brought you some flowers. Is something the matter, Tom?
What makes you say that?
You sound upset. Perhaps I'd better check you another time.
Oh, no, Mrs. Ellis. No, come in, sit down. Thank you for the flowers. They're lovely. Sit down right here. Mrs. Ellis, I want to ask you something. It sounds kind of silly, but do you believe that the spirits of the dead can come back to haunt the living? Do you believe in ghosts?
What makes you ask a thing like that?
You haven't answered, Mrs. Ellis.
Nobody believes in ghosts nowadays.
Well, do you?
If anybody was to ask me seriously, I would have to say no. Of course, a real estate agent runs into many strange things in an empty house sometimes.
What kind of things?
Well, there was a family named Samuels. They lived in that last house down the beach. One day, their little boy took his dog and went fishing. They never came back, and nobody knows what happened to them. After the Samuels moved away, I signed 3 tenants during that first month.
But not one of them would stay more than a few days.
Yeah, I know that story, but that doesn't prove anything.
They complained about an unseen dog whining and scratching at the door, but that wasn't what made them break their lease. It was the cold up in the boy's room. You could feel it in your bones, a deathly cold. The walls were always damp and stained with seawater. Whatever caused it, the thing came back every night.
Did you ever see it, Mrs. Ellis?
It's been many years since I've seen anything.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting. Did anybody see it?
People say they found wet seaweed on the boy's bed.
Oh, but you can't call wet seaweed a ghost, can you?
Tom, what's wrong?
Why do you ask that?
You're running away from something. Well, Tom?
Well, something I can't believe exists myself.
If it does exist, you can't solve anything by running. Then, on the other hand, if it doesn't exist, there's nothing to run from.
You're a very wise woman, Mrs. Ellis. Thanks for talking with me. Oh, and thanks for the flowers. They're beautiful. Come back soon. Now, go away. Go away. No, leave me alone. No, go away. You're dead. Leave me alone.
I'll never leave you. I'll always be. Always. 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 Save me, Tom. Save me. Save me.
Bye. Bye. You can't hear me, can you? Because you don't even exist. You're a shadow, perhaps. Light, perhaps. Nothing more. But, Vi, just in case you can hear me, I've come to tell you this. I'm not going to pay any attention to you anymore. I'm going to live my life right here. I'm going to stop running. And I'm going to marry Meg, Vi. I'm going to marry Meg. That's all I came to say. It's going to be just as though you never existed. I'm going to marry Meg. Just in case you can hear me, Vi. Good night. And goodbye.
No one will ever have you with me.
Well, hi. There's Coke in the refrigerator. Help yourself.
Okay. Mrs. Ellis said you wanted to see me. What about?
Sit down. I wondered if you'd, talk to your sister Meg for me. Tell her how sorry I am.
Okay.
You tell her I behaved like a little boy, and I'm ashamed of myself.
I'll tell her. She didn't call anything off.
She didn't?
Uh-uh. Guess she's ready to make up. Just like grown-ups. Are you all ready?
Yeah, I'm all ready.
Have you got the ring and everything?
Mm-hmm.
Let me see it.
Okay.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Meg's sure lucky. Can I try it on?
Sure.
What I really want is one of my own.
Well, you might be just a little bit young.
I know. Dear little Sandy, she's just a child. Why, do you know how old I am? I'm practically 9. Why, in China and Borneo and India and places like that, girls already have husbands at my age. I'd get married tomorrow if I could find someone like you. Can't I please try on the ring?
I just put it on your finger.
But what on my finger?
The ring.
I don't have the ring. What's the matter? Did you drop it? Couldn't fall far. It's gotta be here somewhere.
Sandy, don't touch it.
What, Tom?
That right there.
There's nothing there.
Sandy, tell me the truth. Didn't you see anything right there?
There wasn't anything to see. You hurt.
I'm sorry. Well, I'll find the ring later. You run along now, Sandy. I gotta finish my practicing. Goodbye, Sandy. I'll see you later. All right, bye. I know now you've come back. But it won't do you any good. Because I'm going to marry Meg. Now, what'd you do with the ring, Vi? Vi, what did you do with that ring?
I don't understand what you're going to... All right, no more questions. You know what's wrong with you?
What?
You've been working too hard, getting ready for your concert. You've had a lonely life here on the island away from all your musician friends. It's been getting you down. But I'll take care of all that once we're married.
Maybe you better tell your mother that the wedding's on again.
I never told her it was off.
You're pretty sure of yourself, aren't you?
You know, the first thing you're going to do is have a long vacation. A whole month's honeymoon in Europe.
You know how many hit records I'd have to sell to pay for that?
Dad's footing the bill. It's his wedding present to us. He wanted to tell you himself, but he won't be here till right before the wedding. And when we get back, I'm going to have a big party so I can get to know all your friends.
Big party? We'll be living in a 3-room apartment.
Mother and Daddy won't mind if we use their house in Bel Air. They say now that I'm getting married, it's too big for them anyway, so they'll be turning it over to us for good one of these days.
Are you trying to spoil me?
There's nothing I'd like better. Come on up to the house a minute. I want you to see something.
What?
My wedding gown.
Isn't that supposed to be bad luck?
You're not superstitious about things like that, are you?
No. I'm not superstitious.
My garden's full of roses this month, and it seemed about time to bring you some fresh ones, so...
Hi.
Hello.
Well, hello, stranger.
Hi,
Where have
Kitty.
you been keeping yourself, lady?
Ah.
Some beautiful gifts have arrived, and you haven't seen any of them.
Hey, look at this.
But you're a dear anyway.
Champagne.
Fix your drink.
Look, another one.
Uh-oh. There's my girl. Hi, pal.
Hi. Is everything made up with you and Meg?
Well, I'm working on it. Hi, Miss Ellis.
Tom?
Another pair. People must think newlyweds live on lettuce by candlelight. This makes 9 pairs of candlesticks and 12 salad bowls, and more coming every time the mailboat arrives. Meg got her wedding gown today, and Tom, it's simply a dream. What a bride goes through to make herself attractive for you men. It took 3 fittings to get the bodice right, and 3 layers of net to make the skirt full enough.
Well, hardly seems worth it. After all, I'm only marrying her, so you'll be my mother-in-law.
Sandy, see if there's a window open. There's a cold draft all of a sudden.
What's that sweet smell?
Must be the fresh roses.
My roses never smelled like that. It's a woman's perfume.
Help me make room for these, dear. In my day, it wasn't candlesticks, it was teaspoons. Mr. Hubbard and I received no less than 78 of them when we were married. Maybe that's a reason for his attitude. When he went back to the mainland, he said he was going to go right to the office and stay there until the wedding. I'm sure you'll never treat your wife like that, will you, Tom? Or will you?
He isn't here, Mother.
Where is he?
I think Meg took him to look at her dress.
My wedding dress.
What is it? What did she find?
Seaweed.
Tom?
Yes, Mrs. Ellis. I'm in here.
I brought you some honey. Don't get up. I'll just put it on the bar here.
Thank you, Mrs. Ellis.
I really brought the honey only as an excuse, because I knew you were upset. Tom, there's nothing supernatural about what happened to Meg's dress. There must be a logical explanation.
I know. But that seaweed, it's just like that Samuels boy.
There have been no recent deaths, Tom.
No. Anyway, I'm sure of one thing. I've had enough of her.
Who are you talking about?
Oh, a friend I used to have, a girl named Vi. She came over here to the island to see me. We quarreled up in the lighthouse. And, well, at any rate, she went back to the mainland.
Are you sure that's what happened?
What do you mean, am I sure?
Well, maybe she didn't go back to the mainland. Maybe this girl Vi is still here and is playing tricks to get even. Now, where do you suppose a woman could hide on this island?
Who's hiding?
Never mind, Sandy. Things will work out. You'll see.
People always saying never mind.
Because there are some things that grown-ups don't want children to know about, Sandy.
Those are always the most interesting things. Who is Tom looking for?
Never mind.
Daddy's looking for at the lighthouse. He's always hanging around there.
The lighthouse is a very dangerous place, Sandy. It'll soon be torn down.
That doesn't keep people from going there.
But you mustn't go there, Sandy. Not ever. Run along home now. Come on, Fritz. What's the matter, Fritz? I'm surprised at you. You're being as silly as Tom. All right, I'll go alone. Young lady. Young lady. Vi. That's a lovely perfume you're wearing. It's no use. I know you're in here somewhere. I can hear you, too. Don't you think it's ridiculous to hide? Come down. There's something I want to say to you. Very well. If you won't, then I'll go up and find you. Listen to me, please. I don't usually give people advice, but Tom is a dear friend, and I want to ask you to leave him alone. Are you listening to me? You might at least have the politeness to answer. My, that's a nasty laugh you have. What tricks are you up to now? Wait. Listen to me. You know you're worrying and frightening Tom half to death. It's not hard to sense how desperate he's getting. I know Meg doesn't concern you, but you wouldn't want to make an innocent person suffer, would you? I wish you'd speak more clearly. You're trying to make me sorry for you, I suppose. But I can't help thinking how foolish you are, playing this absurd game. Stand still and let me talk to you, please. You cause those two people all the unhappiness you need to. It's time you stopped. You don't belong here, you know. Why don't you leave Tom and Meg alone and go back? What are you saying? I can't hear you. What a fiend you are. You're not fooling me. I know exactly what you are.
It's not fair. You're getting the party, the presents, the husband. I get nothing.
Be nice to me, Peanut. In 2 more days, I'll be a married woman, and you'll miss me.
I'll miss Tom more.
Sandy.
How's my family?
Daddy!
Am I too early or too late?
I'm so happy you made it in time.
You don't think I'd let my daughter marry without her favorite father being around now, do you?
Well, roll up your sleeves and pitch in. The party's right after tomorrow's rehearsal.
Hi, honey.
Frank.
Where's the groom?
He's not feeling well.
What's the matter with him?
He's been overworking.
At the piano, I suppose.
Please don't start that again.
It's bad enough to accept a musician into this family, but a jazz musician is asking too damn much.
Why don't you go to bed, dear? You must be tired.
What's the matter with a jazz musician?
Be still, brat.
Poor Tom.
Here, kid? Can't you hear or something? I asked if you live here.
In the lighthouse?
No, on the island. On the island.
Why do you want to know?
Look, kid, I really don't care. I'm looking for a guy called Tom Stewart. Do you know him?
What do you want him for?
He won $200,000 on a sweepstakes ticket, and I'm here to give him the money.
I don't believe you.
Look, kid, do you know where he lives? What you looking for, Dad? Not much to see out there, huh? Oh, wow, this is a crazy pad.
Aren't you lost, buddy?
Oh, man, this sure is.
Hey, now, wait a minute. What is this?
Look, I don't want nothing from you, Dad. I really don't. She owes me a fin, that's all, and I thought it'd be nice to have.
What are you talking about?
No sweat, Dad. I don't want nothing from you. She owes me a fin, that's all. Wow, you sure have a nice pad, Dad.
Now, look, I don't mean to be rude, but you'll either have to tell me what you're talking about or get out of here.
Look, the blonde, the one with the... She owes me some bread, that's all. There's nothing to get bugged about. What she does here is your business. I can see you dig me, Dad.
Look, I motored this chick, Vi Mason, over to the island. I got a boat. Now, when she asked me if I'd take her, well, I say okay, but she said she doesn't have the change. This is what she said. Okay, so we make a deal. $5 over and $5 back.
Now, look. I haven't the faintest idea who or what you're talking about.
Look, Dad, all I want is the bread. When she didn't show by morning, I figure I'd been had. And I know she didn't go back on the regular run because I asked the putt-putt jockey, and he said no. Now, I'm a real square, Dad. I didn't remember the name of the guy she said. Today I remember. How do you like that? Tom Stewart. That's the name of the guy she said when we made the run. So, enough of this jazz, Dad. Come on.
I have to leave. Get out.
Well, maybe I better wait around until the chick shows.
You'll do nothing of the... All right. Maybe it's worth it, $5 just to get rid of you. Here.
There you go. What you do is your business, Dad. All I want is what's coming to me.
Be right with you, Mrs. Ellis. There you are.
Plenty of pickle?
Yes, sirree. Plenty of pickle. How are you, Mrs. Ellis?
Warm, Mr. Nelson. It's a very warm day. I think I'll have something light. Egg salad sandwich and a glass of iced tea with lemon. Don't like sugar in my tea, but plenty of lemon.
Well, how about a nice hamburger or a tuna fish salad?
What's the matter with your eggs?
Oh, there's nothing the matter with them. I just don't have any. I've been out of eggs for almost a week now. Kramer's hens just stopped laying. It's a funny thing. Nothing like this ever happened before, except once, about the time of Samuel's boy died. They just up and quit laying. Would you like a tuna fish salad?
Just the iced tea.
Right.
Say, Dad, can I have a Coke?
Right. The Hubbards had to send over to the mainland special to get some eggs for their party. Can't bake a cake without eggs.
Speaking of the wedding, are you still there, Sandy?
Yes, ma'am.
Shouldn't you be at the rehearsal?
Holy cow! Charge it, Mr. Nelson!
You know, Mr. Nelson, I wish I could have my sight back, long enough to see Tom and Meg married. They must be a lovely couple. I'd give anything to see them.
They're a handsome couple, all right. Tom Stewart's marrying a beautiful gal. The nicest of families, too.
Say, Dad, what did you say the handle of the guy getting spliced was?
Tom Stewart. The girl's name is Meg Hubbard.
And little Sandy will be standing here to my right, next to the bride, and then the groom, of course, to her right, and you'll be standing here. The parents will be in their pews, and... May I help you?
Yeah, I want to speak to Tom Stewart.
Excuse me. You're interrupting a wedding rehearsal in there.
Like I said, Dad, what you do is your business. I mean, it's crazy with me if you want to marry one chick and keep another one on the side for kicks. Wow. But I feel sort of a responsibility, seeing as how I brought your broad over on my tug. See what I mean?
What are you driving at?
Oh, come on, Dad, don't you know?
I gave you the money you're after. What more do you want?
Well, it seems that our deal is in line for some renegotiations.
Tom, hurry. We're waiting for you.
Yeah, go ahead back. We'll pick it up later. Time, I got plenty of.
No.
Mrs. Stewart. Isn't that right, Mr. Stewart? I'll be right back. Oh, please, Tom. Just one more.
Oh, I wanted to get a drink.
Yeah, I'll get it for you. Just one more number. I want to show you off. Oh, I love
Sorry I started you, Tom, but candids are the best kind.
I had my mouth open and my eyes closed. This is going to be the worst picture ever made.
If you don't like it, I can take another.
No. No, this is fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Here, let me look.
No. Get a drink.
Tom, what's wrong with it?
Nothing.
It's only a picture. Why are you so upset?
I'm not upset.
Well, something's bothering you. Is it another girl? You can tell me. I'll try not to be jealous.
Jealous? I could be jealous of Vi. She's dead. She doesn't exist. She's a perfume. She's a footprint. She's a hand. She's a face in a picture. Who could be jealous of Vi?
You're talking crazy, Tom. Let me see the picture.
No.
You're not making any sense.
It's her face between the two of us.
I don't see anything. Except you and me. You're not making any sense.
It's her face between the two of us.
Did you put out the lights? What's the matter?
You don't look too happy. You ought to be. You're getting married tomorrow.
I sometimes wonder the way Tom's been acting lately.
Anything Tom does is all right.
He's perfect in your eyes anyhow, isn't he? Oh, don't worry, Sandy. I love him. I suppose every girl has a few last-minute doubts.
Because he's always around the lighthouse?
Because he imagines things that aren't so. Everything will be all right. It's late.
I'll get the window. There's a light up there. I wonder who it could be.
A boy and a girl, probably. You wouldn't understand.
I would, too. They used to go there to neck. Not anymore. Everybody says it's too cold and damp and smelly.
Does Tom go there with anybody? Or does anybody meet him there?
Now who's imagining things?
You're right. Oh, besides, that's probably only a reflection of the moonlight on a loose pane of glass.
Where are you?
I'm over here.
Vi, where? What do you want?
I want you, Tom. I want to save you from your own mistake.
My only mistake was in knowing you.
And the only way you could correct it was for me to die, wasn't it?
It's not my fault you're dead.
Isn't it?
I couldn't have saved you.
Couldn't you? Maybe you can make yourself believe that, but not me. I was there, remember? You had to shut me up so you could marry Meg. You got away with that, all right, but now what are you going to do? I'll never let you marry Meg. You belong to me, Tom. You belong to a ghost. That's the trouble with making one first slip. You have to go from bad to worse to keep it quiet. What would you do if Meg gets wise to you? Stop her the same way you stopped me?
I didn't kill you, Vi. I never killed anybody, and I never will. And once I'm married, I'm going to live a very happy, very normal life with Meg and with our friends. And there's really nothing you can do about it.
Isn't there? You may have noticed I've found my voice now. I pick things up fast. I'm going to use it to tell the world about you. I told you, Tom, no one will ever have you but me.
Stop it, Vi.
Try and make me. Tom Stewart killed 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 me.
Don't be in such a hurry, Dad. You're always in a hurry. You shouldn't be like that.
Give me that.
I just want to talk to you, chum. A nice, friendly talk, that's all.
Give me that.
You look sick, Dad. Something's wrong. Look, are you going to talk to me or not? Let's get this thing over with.
Just what is it you want?
Like I said, Dad, all I want is what's coming to me. You know, the way it looks to me, we should be sort of partners. I help you, and you help me. I bring your playgirl over to the island, and I figure it's worth some sort of service to you to sort of buy something from me. Like a silent service, catch?
The word you're reaching for is blackmail.
That's not it at all, Dad. We should be sort of pals. I done you a favor, now you can do me one.
In other words, if I don't pay you blackmail, you go to my fiancé and expose my life of sin. Is that it?
Well, you're saying it rather crude, Dad, but you're getting the idea.
But it won't do you any good. I'm not going to pay you one lousy cent. In the first place, I don't know a girl named Vi. And even if I did, it wouldn't do you any good. Because unfortunately, I'm not sharing my cottage with anyone. If it'd make you feel better, you can look for yourself.
That's not necessary, Dad, not at all. You see, I already have.
Well, then you know she's not here.
Well, yes and no. You see, when you were so eager to come up with that 5 spot, I figured you were, well, anxious to keep everything sort of quiet-like. Now, when I find out you're getting spliced to another chick, well, the story's even getting better to read. Now, here comes the part I like the best. I do a little snooping when you're not around. Now, what do you think? You still with me, Dad?
Go on.
You see, that's the punchline. That's the gimmick. If this doll Vi isn't hiding in your cottage, and she isn't anyplace else on the island, and she never left the island, now, what do you suppose could have happened to her, huh?
You tell me.
You're a comedian. You're the one that has the rest of the answers.
You know something? Everything you've just said is all bluff. You don't know a damn thing.
That's not friendly, Dad. Not friendly at all. In fact, I thought you'd take a wrong outlook on things, so I sort of borrowed something from a friend of yours.
Let's get out of here.
I can see that you finally dig me, Dad. What did we come up here for?
So that you and I can have a little talk in peace and quiet.
It's cold.
Just what do you want?
5 thou.
5 thou?
And don't tell me you no gut. Your future father-in-law is loaded.
Tom. Tom.
5.
Who are you talking to?
You didn't hear anything?
I didn't hear anything. I'm waiting to hear something from you.
They're closing in on you, Tom. You'd better take care of him right now.
No.
Is that your final answer?
Oh, I didn't... Give me a minute.
He's so easy, Tom. Just as easy as I was. Go ahead. There's a piece of pipe behind you. One good blow is all it takes. You got rid of me, but you'll never get rid of him as long as he lives. He'll bleed you of every penny, Tom. And all the time you'll have it hanging over you. What if people find out? What if Meg finds out? You can't let him do it, Tom. You'll lose everything.
Look, you've had enough time. Do I get the money or don't I?
Yes, Tom. Does he get paid?
No.
All right. You know what's best. See what your chick has to say about this.
Hit him, Tom.
Wait. Change your mind?
Hit him, Tom.
No.
Sandy, come here.
Sandy, did you hear your mother call you?
What is it?
Drop whatever you're doing and come here at once.
All right.
Oh, Sandy, we have to be at the church in 20 minutes, and you're not even dressed yet.
Never mind that now. Meg snagged her hymn. Come and hold it while I tack it up.
You'll make a lovely wife, Meg.
Thanks.
Meg, do you really love him a whole lot?
Whatever makes you ask a thing like that?
Last night you said you weren't sure.
Well, I'm sure now. Oh, you'll remember to take the bouquet when I hand it to you, won't you?
I'll remember. Suppose he'd done something awful bad.
The way I feel now, I'd marry him no matter what. Oh, and don't forget, you stand close behind me, but not too close.
There, that's done. And you, young lady, get into your gown this instant.
Hubbard loaned us her ring in place of the one you lost, so that's okay. I've got the minister's fee here in my pocket, and everything's under control. So snap out of it.
Okay, I'll be all right.
Then get that funereal look off your face. This is a wedding man. Cheer him up, honey.
Well, that's It's a real pretty dress, Sandy.
You're really gonna marry my sister, aren't you?
Oh, don't feel like that.
I can't help it. Suppose you love somebody. Somebody who did something bad. And only you knew. Would you keep it secret?
Well, good friends generally try to stand by one another.
But what if it were something real bad?
Real bad, like what?
Murder?
Dearly beloved, we are gathered together here in the sight of God and in the face of this company to join together this man and this woman in holy matrimony, which is an honorable estate, instituted of God, signifying unto us the mystical union that is betwixt Christ and his church. Which holy estate Christ adorned and beautified with his presence and first miracle that he wrought in Cana of Galilee, and is commended of St. Paul to be honorable among all men, and therefore is not by any to be entered into unadvisedly or lightly, but reverently, discreetly, advisedly, soberly, and in the fear of God. Into this holy estate, these two persons present come now to be joined. If any man can show just cause why they may not lawfully be joined together, let him now speak, or else hereafter, forever, hold his peace.
Vi? Vi? I've come to tell you you've won. I'm sure you're glad to hear that. I'm going away, Vi, and I'm not coming back. Vi? Vi, I'm running out on Meg. I'm not coming back. Sandy, what are you doing here?
I followed you. Why did you have to kill him?
I knew something would happen. I was against the marriage from the beginning.
Let me help you with your gown, dear.
Don't bother, Mother. Sandy will help me.
Sandy, help your sister.
Where is Sandy?
I thought you came home ahead of us.
Well, if she did, she's not here now.
I wish you hadn't seen it, Sandy. Now, I'm afraid you'll tell everybody, and I don't know what to do.
I won't tell.
But how can I be sure of that?
Good friends protect each other.
Yes. But sometimes they can't help themselves. Things leak out. Police hear about it. Do you know what would happen if the police heard about this? I'd go to the gas chamber. Sandy. Sandy, why did you have to see it?
I couldn't help it.
No. Nobody could help any of it except me. I could have saved Vi. I could have put my hand out to her. Instead, I killed her. Sandy. Sandy, you know I love you very much, don't you?
Thank you, Reverend. She isn't there. I can't imagine where she could have gone.
Where's Tom? The least he could do is be here when Meg needs him.
Can't you leave him alone?
There's a light in the lighthouse.
Sandy could be there. She talks about the place all the time.
Oh, I don't think she'd go there at night, though.
We'd better make sure.
Why are we going up there?
Let's go up and look at the sea. You're not afraid of me, are you?
I never used to be.
Come on, then. When the moon shines, you can see the whole island from up here. You didn't tell anyone we were coming up here, did you?
I didn't tell them anything.
Good. Good.
Let's go back.
You afraid?
Yes.
Sandy. Sandy, why did you have to see it?
Tom. Tom.
Bring him in now.
Tom, it's a woman.
Who could it be?
Here's the doctor. Where did he find her?
Wedged in the rocks.
She's been down there a week, I'd say.
Bringing him in now.
Tomato light, shining bright in the darkest night. Tomato light, shining bright in the darkest night. In the darkest night. In the state of North Carolina, near the city of Wilmington, there's a place called Mako Station. That's where this story was begun.
In 1867, they say a locomotive engineer, whose name was Joe Baldwin, died in a train wreck here. It was just before midnight, so they say, and the night was cold and black. Near the broken rail where the spikes had failed, Joe was standing on the track. The whistle screamed when the headlights gleamed, saw the warning light he gave. But the speeding freight in the hand of fate laid poor Joe in his grave. The Mako light, shining bright in the darkest night. The Mako light, shining bright in the darkest night. In the darkest night. From that day on, so the story goes, which no one won't deny, there's a ghostly light that appears at night like a halo in the sky. Though many have seen it, who really knows what makes the light appear? The old folks say it's the light of a lantern that Joe was a-swinging here. They say old Joe is surely a ghost that keeps coming back at night, still trying in vain to warn the train with the waving of his light. Well, maybe you believe it, or maybe you don't, or maybe you just won't tell. I've never been to either place, but I know there's a heaven and a hell. The Mako light, shining bright in the darkest night. The Mako light, shining bright in the darkest night. In the darkest night.